On this, let's now welcome in CBS Sports baseball analyst and former executive of the year, Jim Bowden. Jim, I understand there's been some updates to the situation today in terms of the games that are on the schedule. What's the latest?
Yeah, Jeremy, the Philadelphia Phillies team has voted not to play their game against the Washington Nationals tonight, so that game will be postponed. The Oakland Athletics have also voted that they do not want to play tonight's game. That game will be postponed. And Jackie Bradley Jr., the outfielder of the Boston Red Sox, is not going to play tonight. Apparently, the Red Sox team is going to play. Now, the commissioner's office talked to the players' union earlier today. They did not come up with any conclusion outside of the fact that everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants social justice. We want to stop systemic racism. The industry wants to stop police brutality. We want to stand behind Black Lives Matter. I mean, this is something everyone is supportive of. And so basically what's happened with the 30 owners and the players and everyone involved in the sport of baseball is that they're going to support any team that decides not to play, going to support any player that decides not to play, without any penalty whatsoever. They will reschedule games just like they have had to do because of the pandemic. They will continue to pay the players during this time. I mean, this is a bigger cause, what everyone is fighting for. It's bigger than baseball. And one of the things that the NBA, the WNBA, and Major League Baseball did yesterday, they had the whole world stop because so many people are sports fans. Everybody goes to sports for entertainment. Everybody looks at this sport, male, female, all colors, all religions, all ages. Everybody watches the sports. So when you stop it for a day or your star athlete decides not to play or the NBA shuts down the playoffs, the world stops. And if you look around the national coverage, news stations, political stations, every station stopped and covered sports because of this. And I think everyone needs to understand that action, you know, it's not just wearing the shirts in the bubble or Major League Baseball players wearing the shirts. Things have to change. And for Jacob Blake to be shot in the back 7 times with 3 other police officers doing nothing about the police officer that continues to shoot at him, it's disgusting and it's got to change and it can't happen. So baseball, like the NBA, the WNBA, and the sports world, is trying to use their forum with millions and millions of people that watch, that care, that love with passion. They're trying to use that forum to send a message that change has to happen. And look, and I think the way baseball's handling it is we're all in support, we're all unified, we're all one, and let everybody handle this situation the way they feel best, because what we all really want is change.
Jim, appreciate your candor, appreciate your opinion, appreciate your emotion. Obviously, it's something that is very close to you, having been involved in the game for so long. But baseball has always been culturally conservative and slow to react to social movements. What does the reaction Wednesday and Thursday tell you about how things have changed?
Well, it changed dramatically because what you're seeing and hearing from the 30 owners and the commissioner's office and the general managers and the managers is complete unified reaction to the change that's needed in society. And when you sit there and are willing and supportive of games being postponed, willingness and supportive of players deciding not to play without any penalty, without any reaction, it's because we're all on the same page and we all want the same thing. Now, there's obviously different opinions on how to handle this. There's a lot of people that believe playing the games and using that center stage to use your voice for change is more impactful than not playing a game. But really, when you look at it, both ways can be effective. And so I think that's kind of why the commissioner's office and the union and everyone is being so supportive of, because you know what? Not playing sends a message, and playing and giving your message also helps. Change is what we all need. And you're right, baseball is changing in so many ways, on the field, off the field. We've talked so many times about unwritten rules now, a thing of the past in baseball. Baseball now embracing things they've never embraced before, like bat flips. But there is no doubt that this issue that we're all talking about is so much bigger and so much more important than any game, any sport, that we all have to react the right way so that change is made.
And a little bit of breaking news, obviously, the 2 games that are being postponed for Thursday, the Oakland game and the Phillies game, and Jackie Bradley Jr. saying that he's not going to play tonight with full support of the Boston Red Sox. Now, Jim, you talked about the fact that everybody's behind social change here, but there were some players that said, hey, we're not activists. We just want to play. To your point about playing the games is perhaps making a statement as much as not playing the games. But you saw what Jackie Flaherty had to say in his tweet in that why can't we just for one day do something in unison? So what does that tell you about just how unified they are in terms of how to approach this?
Well, I think it's symbolic of society, right? I don't think we all view everything the same. We all have different opinions of how to protest. You look around the country and we have peaceful protests, which is what I would support. We also have riots, which I don't support. Whether you have the opinion of not playing and you want the whole sport to shut down, or do you want people to make their own choice? I mean, I think that's a philosophical view. Obviously, based on Jack Flaherty's tweet, he would prefer, I'm guessing, without him saying it, that he'd prefer either the entire sport to shut down or not to shut down. I kind of think, the NBA certainly sent their message by stopping the playoffs. They're going to resume, according to reports on Friday. But I think baseball also sent the message that it's okay, regardless of which way you want to send your message, whether it's kneeling for the national anthem, whether it's playing and making your comments known because you have that stage, you have the world watching you with a microphone and a camera in front of you, or whether you think it's best to go home and not to play and let everyone just miss you for the day. So again, I understand what Jack Flaherty wants. I think a lot of us want everyone to look at things our way, but I think at the end of the day, we need to all learn to respect each other. And I think one of the things, and I've talked to a lot of owners, GMs, players, and coaches in the last 72 hours, I have everybody on the same page about the injustice that we have in this country and the racism and the police brutality that has to stop. And so, we need to all find our own way of getting that message out there so change can happen.
So we do have 2 games that have been postponed. There were 15 games on the schedule today, including 4 doubleheaders. So how does this complicate things, and are you expecting more games to perhaps be postponed?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility more get postponed. Those are the only ones we know as of now, but a lot can change, as we saw yesterday, and a lot of players may decide. But baseball's handling this the same way they have with the pandemic. Take a deep breath, and we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. When we had all the positive tests with the Marlins and the Cardinals and the Mets, what did we do? We changed the schedule, and we made it work. And that's what we're going to do here. And we have players that have missed because of false positives. We've had players miss because of positive tests. What have we done? We'll work around it the best we can. 2020 is obviously a very unique season. But this particular racial injustice, inequality, police brutality issues are going to be handled the same way the pandemic's being handled. Baseball's going to work around it. We're not going to penalize teams or players for how they're handling it. Instead, we're going to continue to try to have a schedule where all teams play 60 games. The season ends on or around September 27th, and the playoffs and World Series take place in October. And we'll figure out how to make up these games as the industry's been doing with the pandemic. And that's the one common thread that we're hearing from Commissioner Manfred's office, as well as from the Players Union, Tony Clark, all the way down. Everyone's working together to make it work throughout this very difficult time for society and the world.
He is CBS Sports MLB analyst Jim Bowden, former MLB Executive of the Year. Eloquent as always, Jim. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jeremy.
As mentioned, there were 15 games on the docket for Thursday. 2 of those games are now off the schedule. Postponed: Phillies-Nationals, as well as the Athletics game against the Rangers. And Jackie Bradley Jr. has opted not to play for the Red Sox with full support of the team.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.